So it's one of these trio videos I haven't done in a long time. I will try and keep them up on Wednesdays, no promising, not likely is it, we know what I'm like. But one I've gone for is, again, not one people don't talk about these sorts of fragrances, clove. Clove, I understand, for people of a certain generation is often associated with toothache. For me it's more, I don't know, I suppose my first kind of experience with it, apart from in food, is mulled wine and stuff, so it's quite a lovely kind of note for me. And it's a note that was more used in vintage perfumery, but it's coming back, and it's just a very pleasant warm spice, isn't it? It's got a bit of sweetness about it. It's quite potent. It's not something in real life you want to bite into, you'll regret that. But yeah, it's a lovely spice. And what we'll start with, I don't know what I was waffling on about there. So first up is the indie, and I've gone for a one-way bridge one called Blackstrap Betty. Now this one is primarily, it's all about the coffee and the molasses, and it's got the beautiful dark coffee running through it, that kind of jet black but sweet, slightly bitter but smooth, treacly molasses. Oh, it's beautiful for a dark fragrance. That's ultimately what it is, with the coffee kind of fizzed around it. Now the main spice in it, which is quite prominent, is the cloves, and it does what cloves does. It gives it that warmth, that kind of cozy feel. And I think whatever the cloves are for your teeth or for winter time and stuff, obviously it gives us that cozy warmth. It does exude a warmth as well, doesn't it? And that's why I think we associate it with that time of year and stuff. And mixing with the very dark black coffee and that bitter sweet molasses, it just adds a bit of another texture, another level to it, and makes it quite fantastic. So that's Blackstrap Betty from One Way Bridge. The niche fragrance is somewhat predictable. I think they're probably all predictable, but it's damn good, and I love it, people love it, so why not? That's Musc Ravageur from Frederic Malle, which we know it's like a gourmand clove fragrance. It's got kind of naughty musks going in it, more musks. It's got the woods, the smooth woods, but it's primarily, is it vanillic kind of benzoin-y richness and warmth and appeal, and then the cloves. Oh, the magical cloves. Give it that edge, give it that warmth. Give it, I think, even help with a little bit of the naughty edge, because clove, it tends to work with the animalic things, doesn't it? And it's maybe our association with the old vintage ones with the clove, and it has that slight edge to it. And mixing with all them musks, it's fantastic. Also, what is weird about it is, yes, it is a little bit gourmand in the fact it's kind of almost edible but not quite. It's like a person who you're getting jiggy with, who's wearing a kind of vanillic perfume. That's a good way of describing Musc Ravageur, actually. You know, you've had a bit of a fumble here and there, and then as you're walking back into the ballroom and that, you can smell all that vanilla, but this kind of edge of some little thing you've been up to in the past. And the cloves are kind of, again, it's a good one to, I imagine, used to hide the smell of sweat and that, and maybe that's another association with it. But yeah, anyway, that's Musc Ravageur from Frederic. Finally, and always keeping these as brief as I possibly can, the designer, it's so obvious. Well, it could have been a few things, but it's one of the obvious ones. It's Coco from Chanel, which is, again, it's very Chanel. It's all these kind of soft resins, vanilla. All of these sound like they're almost the same, don't they? But cocoa is more about the spices. It's not just the cloves, although they're the main cloves, giving it that kind of vintagey edge. There's a lot more going on in this. There's kind of, you know, sort of indolic-ish florals, you know, a bit of jasmine. And I can't remember the other florals. Is there mimosa in this? I don't remember. But it's kind of, you know, your kind of old school kind of smelling florals with the richness of the cloves, the musks, the woods, and that kind of vanillic woodiness. Again, it sounds similar to Musk Ravageur, and it kind of is, but it goes in a Chanel direction, because we all know what Chanel's kind of have. There is a bit of freshness at in the opening. I'm not 100% sure, but I think one of the main resins in this is sweet myrrh, Poponax, which is like the name suggests. Now myrrh is kind of very sweet and smooth to me anyway, but in a bright way, whereas a benzoin, you know, is a bit denser, more down to the woody side, and a Poponax is like an amber in a tree. So yeah, Chanel Cocoa smells more golden than perhaps like Musk Ravageur and things like that. So yeah, that's Cocoa from Chanel. Kind of sum up, do I really? There's just some of them. There are many. Cloves, like I say, are used. They can be sensual, they can be warming, they can kind of be cuddly, or you know, a bit more than that. Yeah, they were more vintage, but again, still popular nowadays and adds a great edge. So what's your favourite clovey fragrance? Do you prefer the more vintage kind of naughtier cloves, or the more modern kind of pushing towards sweeter cloves, more ambery kind of clovey fragrance? Do you like cloves in real life? I mean, some people can't stand them, can they? I've used them in cooking. It's good with some meats, isn't it? And it's good in curries and stuff sometimes. Alright folks, thanks, bye.